Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. I am back on this big rusty 1985 C10. This is the second video where I'm actually trying to see if I can figure out the timing issues. My previous video, I didn't have the best of luck being able to adjust the idle mixture screws and to get good vacuum readings. I was just not anywhere near where I needed to be. So I've got a lot of good comments and from that last video, and I'm going to see if I can apply some of those comments here. Watched some videos from Thunderhead 289. Luca's always got a lot of great information on carburetors. So we'll see if it's something that I can figure out this time around, and see if we can get this thing perfectly set up. One of the things I did not explain in the last video is that this is a Blueprint 350. This engine maybe has 350 miles on it. Brand new crate engine from Blueprint. I can put all the stats up here that shows you what kind of engine it is, what kind of cam is in there, and what all's going on. But it's an HEI distributor, it's a Holley carb, and I believe it is a 600 CFM carb, and not a radical cam, as you can kind of hear in the video. Not a crazy cam, but it is probably bigger than stock cam, as somebody pointed out in the last video. So, it's got some get up and go. It dynoed for about 390 horsepower, 400 and something foot-pound of torque. It's a good strong engine, but there's nothing in here that really should be worn out, nothing that should have gone bad. I've already done the break-in fluid change on it at 250 miles, and it's basically about ready to get changed again. So yeah, that's pretty much the info on this. It's all fairly brand spanking new, and the only issues that I was having to get me started on this was that had a little bit of a shake, and I was told in the previous comments that the shake might not actually be the problem, but as far as I can tell, all my plugs are connected. They're all connected into the right locations. I haven't really even changed anything, but I did go through to check to make sure 18436572 is all correct. And so yeah, let's dive into this and see if we can figure out this timing again. First thing first, I gotta put a new battery in because old battery died. Because that's what they do. They die. Put a lot of batteries in my vehicles this year, 3 I think, which means in 3 years they're all going to die at exactly the same time, and I'm going to have to get 3 more batteries. Alright, so we got our new battery in. Actually, a good thing I checked. The battery that came with this one was a much smaller battery, not the same kind for this truck. Only 600 cold cranking amps. I think this one is 800. Yeah, 800. So actually I think this is going to be a much better battery for a lot longer time. Let's get her warmed up again and see what we can find out. Speaking of cold starts, this is a really cold start. It's been in the 20s yesterday and today, and it's up to like 40 right now. Battery's charging. It's warming up at about 1500 RPM. Alright, so I've got it hooked up to the corded vacuum, and it's basically showing a little bit more than 0. Without it being hooked up, with it being hooked up. So it could be that my transfer slots are a little too far open. Okay, I turned it down, the idle down, so that this isn't really moving much anymore. And checking my timing, Okay, yeah, so the timing, I think the gauge, the transfer slots were down because this gauge wasn't moving anymore. It's still plugged into the ported vacuum. Check the timing, everything looked, it still seemed like it actually is a little bit too far advanced. But it is idling now at about, I want to say 600. And so it's definitely down a little bit farther. So I think now I'm going to see if I can check the vacuum on the manifold vacuum and see what's going on there. Alright, so this time I couldn't get much of a change. I was running down here in the 10s and decided to go ahead and turn the idle adjustment screws all the way down on both sides, and the engine completely died. Didn't do that the last time I did this. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to go open them up again to about 1.5 out and see if I can continue to adjust and see if I can get it a little bit closer towards the green. Yeah, so I'm about at my wit's end with this damn truck. Just drove it around for the first time today, and it did not run well at all. Right off the bat, it was just real sluggish. The idle was actually under 500. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I think the only thing I can do at this point is get that set back. One thing that surprised me was when I increased the idle on this last night, it actually got into the green, which tells me that maybe it needs more fuel, and that's part of the problem. I don't know. But the only thing I can think of now is to get those transfer slots back down to the squares, and then adjust the timing to see if I can bring the idle up there. When I was driving it around today, it was idling at like under 500. And it was really kind of rough, and I thought I had it kind of dialed in a little bit last night. So yeah, the other thing I want to do is maybe do the little brake clean trick around here to see if I've got any leaks that I just don't know about. See if the throttle goes up because I sprayed some of that brake clean and it picks up any kind of vacuum leak that I might have in here. That's one of the things I want to test first, because I really can't think of anything else to do to make this run as well as I want to, because there's just something here I'm missing, and I don't know what it is. Yeah, that didn't do anything. So if I've got some kind of vacuum leak, I don't know where it would be. Yeah, right now it's pulling some vacuum, which means that I've got it I've got the transfer slots a little too far exposed. Alright, so I've got it barely running right now, but I've got it to where now it's down to 0 again. So yeah, with the transfer slots, I turn down the idle, it's basically pulling 0. If I take it off, it stays at that same 0. See, it didn't change. So I think my transfer slots are as low as they can go. If you can hear it, it's idling way, way down. I think what I've got to do is use my timing, bump the timing a little bit, see if I can get that to bring up the idle speed. So I've got the transfer slot, I believe, adjusted down to where it's not pulling anything off of the ported vacuum. So that's as low as I pretty much want to take it, but it was idling, gosh, maybe 400, 350. And so I want to check the timing again and see where I'm at with those transfer slots all the way down and see where I'm at. So let's get this hooked up. So right there, the timing is not bad. It's basically where it's supposed to be. About 12 degrees below, I believe. Let's see if I can give it some more timing and that helps. Up. Okay, it looks like it's idling at about 800 right there with that much of a change. It's not sounding too bad. See where our timing is. So the idle's about where I want it to be, but you can see it's not real happy. Let's take a look at adjusting the idle mixture screws again. Alright, so I think I'm just going to wrap this up. Until I can find somebody who maybe can help me with this, I've tried everything I could think of. Without taking the carb off and checking the transfer slots from the gauge, it seems like I've got them where they need to be. I've got the timing advanced. I was able to actually wipe it off a little bit and see a little more clearly. The mark that Blueprint put on the harmonic balancer is at 12 degrees. So it's just 2 marks just to the right of 10. And I've got it now adjusted so that the timing is on about 8 before. So that means I'm at around 20. So if that's the case, then I'm kind of ish where I need to be. If I've got a vacuum leak, I couldn't detect it. If I was actually idling this last run at around 550, maybe almost 600. And it sounds good. I mean, it's not stumbling. It's got, you know, a good idle. So from what I can tell, that's as good as I'm going to be able to get with the way this is all set up and everything that I can figure out. So maybe it's going to take me to find a expert who's been doing this for 50 years to figure out how to perfectly fine tune this. But the only other thing I could think of is, like I said, when I turned that idle screw up, it really jumped up into the green, like it was getting way more fuel. So the only thing I could think of is maybe it's jetted too low. Is that a possibility? I mean, if I've done everything I can do with the transfer slots, with the timing, and the idle mixture screws, what else is there? You know, then I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole of the carburetor itself. So I don't know what to do at this point, but thanks very much for tuning in. If you've got any comments, please let me know down below. You know, once again, you're helping an idiot out. I thought this would be something that I could, you know, try everything that people suggested and watch all the videos from Thunderhead 289 and from Kevin on Junkyard Digs. I've watched them over and over again. I pretty much feel like I could rebuild a carburetor by myself at this point. But that said, I don't know where else to go. I don't know what else to do. So it might be a matter of finding somebody who can say, here's your problem. And it might be something really simple. But yeah, like, subscribe if you can. And yeah, thanks very much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.